Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. My name is Rebecca, and if you're new here, I post videos all about luxury and lifestyle. So if you're into that kind of content, then definitely hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. And in today's video, I'm going to be comparing all three sizes of the Louis Vuitton agendas. Basically, I want to go through all three sizes and kind of let you know my pro and con thoughts and maybe like my recommendations on which one you should go for depending on certain factors. So if you want to hear my thoughts on all three sizes of the Louis Vuitton agendas, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I'm going to show you really quick all the different sizes. I'm sure if you clicked on this video, you are familiar with the different sizes, but I will go ahead and show you them as well. So right here we have the GM agenda in the monogram. As you can see, it is quite large. It is A5 size, so this takes A5 size inserts, which are quite big. Then we have the Louis Vuitton MM agenda in the MM size, yes. This is the medium one in the Damier Ebene. This does come in other prints. I believe the GM does as well, but I'm not 100% sure on all the print options that they come in. So this one takes personal size inserts, so like a Filofax personal planner, those types of inserts. They're actually the size difference between the GM to the MM is quite noticeable in terms of the inserts. Actually, in terms of just everything, you can tell the size difference. And then last but not least, we have the PM agenda in the monogram as well. And this obviously is very small. It takes pocket-sized inserts. So I have had quite a journey with Louis Vuitton agendas. If you've maybe watched my luxury items I've sold or any of my other planner unboxing videos, I've discussed this. I have now owned the GM agenda twice and the MM agenda 3 times. So I've definitely gone back and forth on what I like and what I don't. And to be honest with you, I am actually going to be getting rid of my GM. I did sell it. I wanted to film this video before I ship it off, but the reason being is that, number one, it's just very large and I don't have so many plans that I need to put in something this size, and I just feel like for the price I'm not really getting the use out of it. I did end up buying a plum planner, which I really liked because you could still customize certain factors of the planner, but it's just a basic monthly and weekly planner, and I know it's technically similar size because it's a 7x9, but it's just, I don't feel so bad about it because it's a lot cheaper, obviously. Granted, yes, I could own this forever and keep using it year after year, but I was also starting to just kind of get annoyed at the buying the inserts process, and this thing gets very, very heavy when it is filled to the max, whereas I feel like with a normal, when I used to buy Erin Condren planners, for example, they're a similar size to this, but I didn't feel like they were so heavy compared to this, because you do have all this canvas. Now, I will say that it was a really hard decision to let this go again because I do have all three, and that was something I really wanted. I wanted all three, and I really did enjoy this planner, and I do like it. I do love it. It's just very, very cumbersome, and I feel like I'm just not using it enough to justify keeping it, and I can put that money towards another wish list item. Worst case scenario, if I decide down the road I want to buy it again, I can. It's not like, this is the only one in existence. But first, let's say what the pros are. Number one, the pros of this is that it is big. So depending on who you are, this could be kind of like a non-negotiable. You need a big planner, so the other ones aren't going to work. There is plenty of room to write on the insert pages in here. They are very big. They are wide. They're big, wide and tall. I've never ever run out of room when writing on inserts in this planner, so that is something you really don't have to worry about, and I will kind of tie into that when I talk about the next 2 planners. But if you're somebody that just has a ton going on and you need the room, then no doubt definitely get the GM. Another thing about this is, to me, this is not really travel friendly. Of course, you can bring this around if you're carrying around a Neverfull or a bigger bag, but this is not going to go in your smaller bags. I don't even think it would fit comfortably in my Speedy 25, and that's actually kind of to me, that's like a medium-sized bag. I don't think that's very small, but I don't think it's large either. So this is something that if you're the type of person that just wants to plan at home and you want to leave this on your desk, then that's great. I don't think you'll have an issue with the weight or anything because you're only using it at home. If you are planning to kind of go back and forth places, then I really don't recommend this one because it does get very, very heavy. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider. Another pro to this that I do like is that I can fit a lot of like normal papers, you know, if I fold them, or mail, I can fit things like that in the pockets in here very, very, very easily, and that is kind of nice. So like if you're the type that wants to, you know, hang on to certain bits of mail or, you know, different papers, it doesn't take too much folding or anything to be able to keep them in here comfortably, which is nice and not something you can say about the other two sizes. So again, it all really boils down to what do you need it for. You know, if you're somebody that has, you know, your personal planning, business planning, or you're a content creator and you have to plan those things out and you need the space, then hands down, definitely do the GM size. But for me, I really just don't have that many plans to need all this space. Again, I know I got like a 7x9 size plum planner, plum paper planner, but I just feel like it's a little bit more justifiable when it's something that much cheaper compared to this. So, you know, again, I'm mainly just selling this because I'm not getting use out of it to justify, you know, keeping it. But I do think this is a great planner. And again, if you are somebody that has a lot to plan and you love to have the room to write, even if you don't have a lot to plan and you just need the bigger pages, then definitely go for the GM. So to recap, you know, some of the pros are that it is big. You have really good writing space in the inserts. You know, the rings are big, so you have a lot of room to fill it up. I can easily keep an entire year's worth of inserts in here, plus more. So that is great on that front. You can more easily store like normal size papers and mail in here. The main cons to the GM are, it kind of tie into the pro, but it's size. If you are somebody that needs to be traveling back and forth a lot and you don't want to carry huge bags, then the GM is obviously not going to work for you. And the other con is that it does get very, very heavy when it is completely full. Now, moving on to the Agenda. And to be honest with you, to me, the Agenda is the perfect size with some flaws. So this one is, again, it's quite a bit smaller than the GM. So yeah, you can see it's definitely a jump down, and with the inserts, it's even more noticeable. So the main thing about the Agenda is that the inserts are rather narrow. So you lose a lot of writing space just because of it being so narrow. So with some inserts, like, you know, calendar spread inserts, it can be really tough to fit everything you need in the boxes because they are so small. So that's the main complaint with this one, is honestly just the inserts. I believe you can also fit an entire year worth in here as well. The rings are still very roomy, so it's not, you know, you don't have to worry about that. I really do like that this one is a full-size planner, but it's also more travel friendly. I can fit this, I'm pretty sure I can fit this in my Speedy 25. You know, the Speedy 25 has a smaller like mouth opening, so it can be a little bit harder to fit things in, but once I get it in, it does fit. So it just depends if you want to carry it around in a bag like that because of the smaller opening. But I love that this is a lot more portable, you know, friendly, but it still holds an entire year and a lot of inserts. Whereas like the pocket or this size, you're not getting a whole year of anything in here unless it's only a one-page calendar spread, but I'll get into that. So to me, this is like the Goldilocks size. It's just the inserts. So I have seen that some people do use, like, I think it's a B6 size insert. Basically, it's shorter, but it's wider. So it just depends on what you need for writing space. I actually don't use this one for my everyday planning. I use this for budgeting and cash envelopes, which it fits perfectly. I have no issue there, and even the insert sizes are totally fine for what I need it for. However, I actually am not doing like my budget sheets in here because the ones the budget method that I follow, the budget by paycheck method, Her inserts, when I sized them down to fit in here, they're honestly just really small. It's really hard to write because, again, these are very narrow inserts, so you're losing a lot of space when you don't have that width. So I do intend to, right now I've just been kind of doing my budget planning on my iPad or printing out full-size sheets of the budget by paycheck page. So, but I do keep my cash envelopes in here. I track my sinking funds in here. I track expenses in here. I do have like little calendars in here just so I can see, the whole month and kind of mark off like when do paydays fall, when do bills fall. So it's great for that. I have no complaints. It's just doing my full like paycheck budget. It's a little tight in here. However, if I wanted to just use like some lined, regular lined inserts in here and do my budget on that, I totally could. I just like having like, the little budget sheet. It's kind of just makes it a little more fun than just using plain paper, but you totally could do that and it would work. And again, I have used the budget by paycheck method sized down to fit in here. It does work. You just have to write a lot tinier, and I really don't have the tiniest handwriting. My handwriting's a little bit on the medium side, I would say. But anyway, I really recommend this one if you still need your whole year or a lot of inserts on you, but if you are somebody that does need to bring it back and forth to work, or, something, you need to have it with you all the time, or if you're using it for like budgeting and you need your cash envelopes with you, I think this is a great option because it will fit in a good amount of bags. Obviously not your tiny bags, like this is not going to fit in my Gucci Marmont, but honestly, if I'm using that bag, I'm not really bringing my planner around, so it just kind of depends on, the day. This usually stays at home, but a lot of times I do bring it with me too, like, especially because it has my cash envelopes, and if I know I'm going out for the day and I could possibly need to tap into my cash envelopes, but I'm not 100% sure, I will bring this with me and I'll just bring a little bit bigger of a bag. That way I know in case I need to run somewhere that I need to use my cash envelopes for, I have it with me. But I really do love this right now. I can't say with 100% certainty that this will stay in my collection forever because I have had it 2 times before. So, it's definitely not impossible that I might want to get rid of it down the line. But for now, I really do love it and I want to keep it. So for now, it's staying in my collection. So just to recap on the size, the pros are that it's very travel friendly and that it can still hold a ton of inserts, and the weight is not too bad. Obviously it is a little bit like weighty. It's not super light, but I don't think it's anything unbearable. And in relation to this, like I don't even have this like the same amount of stuff in this one, and I can feel that it's heavier. So, and then the cons with this one are mainly just the size of the inserts. If they could do something different with the inserts, which they really can't because the width that these are pretty much is like max capacity, but that's the main con, is just the insert. So if you're somebody that has a ton to write and you don't want to run out of room, then I definitely don't think this is going to be the one for you. I think you will get frustrated with the size of the inserts, because even I sometimes get frustrated with the size of the inserts, and I don't have a ton to write, especially like for what I'm using this for. I'm not writing down my everyday plans or anything, but if you're somebody very, very busy, then I think the inserts in this are going to get frustrating. That's the biggest con about this agenda. Otherwise, I think this is the Goldilocks size of the agendas. And last but not least, we have the PM agenda. Now, I actually got this one. Did I get this at the beginning of this year? I think I did. I got this at the beginning of 2020 because at that point, I didn't have a ton that I was planning out. I was finishing up my master's program, but for, what I was doing, I really didn't need a ton of space to write down like homework and stuff. I found that in my master's program, yes, there were assignments but it was mainly bigger projects and things. It wasn't like my undergrad when I had so many assignments due. So this was plenty to kind of keep track of everything. And I also was mainly using this for like note taking. Like if I was going to make my shopping list and things like that, I would do that in here. And this is obviously very travel friendly. I can fit this in my Marmont, my Croisette. The main thing that you wouldn't be able to fit it in like a mini bag, but again, if you're using a mini bag, chances are you're not going to really need your planner. The biggest con with this is the ring size. You cannot fit very many inserts in here. So what I was having to do was put like 3 of my monthly calendars in, and then a few like weekly spreads and then note pages, but that was it. There was really not much else that I could fit, and I was constantly having to make sure that I was removing pages that were done, and I couldn't let them build up. Whereas with the GM and the MM Agenda, if you have like your whole year's worth of inserts, you don't need to constantly be taking them out. You can leave them in there for the whole year if you want to keep everything together. Whereas with this, you're really not going to be able to do that. I do like that this agenda has credit card slots. I do like that, which the MM Agenda does as well. The GM does not. And I did end up buying some like mini cash envelopes for this because I was toying around with using this as a little wallet sometimes. However, I will say that this PM agenda is kind of on the chopping block a little bit. I've gone back and forth about selling it. However, from what I've seen on the like resale market, this size doesn't seem to hold its value very well, and I'm just not really willing to take a huge loss on this because I do still like it, and it does, like, it serves its purpose for me, like, in and out. So some weeks I'm like, yes, I really am so glad I have this, and then other weeks I'm like, I don't really use it, you know? So I think that this is just a great choice if you're just somebody that needs to have a space to maybe jot down some appointments, or like for instance, if you wanted to have like a month on one page, you could easily fit the whole year in here. You're just not going to have very much room to write because these inserts are very small. That's another con about this, is that if you're writing a lot, there's just no way. These inserts are very small. You need to be very minimal in what you're jotting down. Even I had, a calendar that was on 2 pages, and even that was still very tiny. So you really just have to this is not going to be an everyday planner situation. So if you're looking for that, then you need to honestly skip this size and either do the MM or the GM, unless you really just don't have a lot to write down and you're fine with taking out weeks as they are completed and you don't need to keep everything together. But for me, like, a lot of times when I'm planning, I like to have months ahead and months behind. Like, I especially like to have months ahead because I do plan things out months ahead. For instance, two things I can think of are dentist appointments and hair appointments. Those get planned months in advance. So I need to have a space to write those things down, and this is just not really that for me. Now, of course, I could keep some note pages in here and jot down appointments and their dates and, fill it in later, which again, if that's something you want to do, you want to just have a place to jot down appointments so you can reference it later, this would be great for that. But for somebody who really is like, if you're a person that just loves planning, then this is not really going to suit you. Again, this is more so just for like note taking, or you could use it as a mini wallet with the cash envelopes like I have here, and you can put cards here, so that's nice. Again, it teeters in my collection, so the main pro to this is that it is very small and you can fit inserts in here, so you can take notes and jot things down, so it's great for that. So if you're just, again, very minimal, this is perfect. The cons are that the inserts are very tiny, so it is hard to, write things on them unless you're talking just a blank lined note page. Any kind of calendar or weekly spread, you're not going to have a ton of room to write things down, per day. So that's basically it. The con is just that it is very small and the rings are very tiny, which I know people have changed out their rings. For me, that's not something I want to do or have any desire to do. I like to keep my items pretty much how they came, even changing out like the strap on different items. I don't like to do that. I like to keep things how they are. So I won't ever change out the rings. But one thing I actually do really like this agenda for is, like, when I have travel happening, what I do is I use this to jot down any critical information. And this actually came in handy when we were traveling to Las Vegas earlier in the year. There was a whole thing. There was like a tornado, flying through Colorado, and we were supposed to stop in Colorado, and we ended up getting like rerouted, and I had no internet, and I had to call our car rental company. But I had written down like the number and our confirmation number in here, so I was able to have that information. Basically, my service was coming like in and out, so I had to text my mom the information, and that finally went through, and she had to call them to let them know that we were being rerouted and we were stuck in a different city, and it was a whole thing. So basically, this came in handy for traveling because I was able to have those confirmation numbers jotted down versus only relying on my phone, because I was able to get a text through, but there was no way I was loading like pages of the internet, you know. It was only just very lucky to be able to get a text out. So I do love that, and I love being able to have like a little mini calendar jotting down like where we are in each day. So that is actually one of the main things I do use this for, is travel, because I can bring this with me and it's not taking up a huge amount of space, whereas I really don't even think I would travel with something like this unless it was like a work trip or something and I needed more space. But I wouldn't travel with this for just my travel plans. So that's when I love this one. So anyway, guys, I hope that this kind of helps you think about the uses of these planners. They are all beautiful planners and they will last a long, long time. The quality is great. It's just a matter of like, what is your preference in terms of what size you need. Again, I've really gone back and forth with all of these sizes. It's like sometimes I love them and sometimes I feel like they're kind of a waste, but for now I am keeping the MM and the PM, but I am letting go of the GM pretty much right after I finish this video. So I will be sad to let it go, and again, it was a really hard decision, but I just would rather get the money back from it so I can put it towards another wish list item. I do have a few bags that are really high on my wish list right now that I want to get, so I am selling some things to try to get the funds to buy one of those. So, you know, and again, I can always buy it later on. And I got to use it, I had fun with it, and now I think I've learned that the GM just isn't for me. I would much rather just go out and buy like a plum paper planner or an Erin Condren type thing, or just a regular planner that I can messily use and not have to worry about, and you know, it's a lot cheaper that way. I don't have to buy inserts for it. So anyway, guys, if you have any questions about the different sizes or my recommendations, definitely leave me a comment down below, because again, I have had quite a wild ride with all of these planners and I feel like I can kind of give some decent tips if you're leaning one way or the other. So definitely leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe before you go so you don't miss any future video like this one. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.